Okay, beautiful. Let's get into this review that we did today. So this is our G station for the pentatonic, and essentially this is going to be all known as the CAGED system. So CAGED system spells C-A-G-E-D. Those happen to be all of the 5 open versions of chords that you can play. Notice the only 2 letters that are omitted, the B and the F, all look like chords already. The B shape looks like the A chord when it's open. The F chord looks like an E chord when it's open, so that's why those are not included, only C-A-G-E-D. So we started today on the G shape. So if we were to use that CAGED system, employing it up the frets, after G in the word CAGED is E. So after we would bar this entire fret that your fingers occupied, and then make the E shape, or up here, move it down. So now this becomes your G chord, just like when you're playing the E chord up here. That E is open to make that. So your bass note determines what chord you're on. So this is my bass note, so that's my G, right? So for the next one, after E in CAGED is D. So we bar the last fret that the fingers occupy. This is still a G chord. That first one was a G chord, right? This is also a G chord. Because this note right here will be your bass note, just like for the D chord when you make the D chord. Your D note is this string. So these two are the ones that match. That's your D, there's your E. Oh, well, it'd be E. There's your F, there's your G. So there's your G. For spelling it out, just trying to show you all the possible ways to execute it. Okay, so there's your D shape. Now after D in CAGED, you start over again with C. The exception to the rule of being on the last fret that you capo is this one, because that has to be the C part when you're making your C shape. So see, there's that note right there. That was for the D chord shape earlier. So now we take it, the one before it, and do the 2, 4, 5. And there's your G chord on that fret. Now I'm not expecting you to be able to do all these. My point is, each of these shapes have the corresponding patterns that'll go with them for the pentatonic. And that's your A shape after C, because you'll take the last fret, bar the last fret, make the A. And you guessed it, if you wanted to restart over again, you could do the G chord all the way up here. You could even do it open, because it doesn't matter. So that would be just an octave travel up for G chord if you wanted to. Okay, so all that to say, each one of these will have a corresponding pattern. Okay, so that is the CAGED system in a nutshell. So this first little section right here, you can go through 2 octaves in this G pattern, as well as the E pattern. So with this one, G, open, index, open is your first octave. So that's G to A to B to D to E to G. And that's an open E if you wanted it. Open E for boom, boom, boom. We do that at the end. Anyhow, so middle, open, index, open is your first octave. Now keep it on from there. G to A, and then your B to D, then your open E to your G. So that's your second octave. Okay, so now you can do both octaves. Just try to note where they match, right? G, A, B, C, D, G, A, B, C, D, E. But just know that they're just, you don't have to memorize those notes. Just know that that's where they match sonically, so you can kind of like start to intuitively know where these guys will be in the future, but it takes time. Okay, time and practice. All right, so the next one, if you wanted to just have a bonus one to add on to, would be the middle pinky, index, pinky, index, pinky. This will be the E shape. So the middle finger will start it on the 3rd fret, pinky will be on the 5th fret, next string it'll be index. So we have 4 fingers, so we have to spread up across 4 frets in order to get some of these patterns. So middle pinky, next one would be index pinky, next one would notice how I said earlier, they're all the same in different spots. So that's why sometimes it's to your advantage to just focus on one, because you could have done that same thing when you did this. But there's the extra note that you get access to in this shape. So only one extra note gets added on for each shape from this beginning shape. So if you just memorized, simplistically speaking, if you just memorized this first one and then just memorized adding all of these on, then you wouldn't even have to learn all these other ones in the in-between, because all those are doing is just doing the same thing you can do up here. Only if you started further up here, you couldn't go, I mean, you could go back further, but say you didn't know how, you would be stuck with just doing this one. Okay, anyhow, that's a whole different train of thought that I just went on in my own head, and I was like, don't give her too much. Okay, because I try not to just just regurgitate overly, give you too much. I'm so sorry. Okay, anyhow, so back at this pattern, middle pinky, index pinky is your G, A, B, D, E, G, and then it keeps going from here, middle pinky, index pinky to index ring on that G string, index ring, and then middle pinky, back to the middle, because that's your octave right there. So you don't want to end on that one, because it kind of leaves it like you want another note to come back to that one, sorry. And that's your first octave for each direction. So middle pinky, index pinky, sorry. Index ring, middle pinky, middle, okay? Always feel free to pause. I know I just keep going, but that's because I just assume you're going to pause it at some places. So, one more time. From here you can see. I'll just show it to you real quick. The comparisons of the two, and then the next one. So some people would like different patterns will accomplish different sounds. Like, say you wanted to hammer on this to there, like to that B, E, so you could do like on this one, but you couldn't do a boom, hammer on to an E, because the E is just, you'd have to pluck it open. So if you wanted to execute certain things that you can't do from the open strings, that's why it's good to learn the other patterns as well. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Or say you wanted to pull off to a lower note of the E, like to the E flat or something, so you'd have to be able to come up here to that E, because you couldn't do that E flat. You'd have to do the E for that one, if that makes sense. Okay, sorry to deviate again. Just giving you different things that you can just play with if you fancy venturing out into different realms. Okay, so those are the first two. I don't want to give you too many more. That's just the G and the E shape. They will both have 2 octaves in them. So let's run through those. Just G, open, index. Ready? Go. So middle finger, next string, open to the index, next one open to the index, next one open to the index, next one open to the ring, open to the ring or pinky. Now, let's do a slide and go into the next one. So pluck it and pluck slide up 2, and now we're in the E shape, but we're going to go back up this way in it, if that makes sense. So let's do that slide again. So pluck, slide, back to the 3rd, back to the 5th of the next string, 3rd of the same string, squeeze that ring finger in, because that box, so there's boxes and rectangles in each one. So the box over here there. This one is the box of the G. You know? So, and if you don't know, I understand. So this one is open to, open to, open to, right? So that's a box right there. The box would continue if this B string didn't be such a bastard and be short by 1. So it has to be overcompensated and pushed up by 1 because it's short by 1. So example to lead that with G to A to B. Notice that's your B. And that B matches. Notice how it's only 4 frets deep. But look at these. The rest of these strings are 5 frets apart. E to F to G to A. So there's the A for both of those strings. A on the E string and A open. A on the E string, A open. So same with the A string. A to B, B to C, B to D, D note on the A string, and D open. D to the E to the F to the G, G on the 5th fret, G open. Now on the G string, G to the A to the B. See how it's the only one that's short? Because then we go to the B, C, D, E. So see, that's the only one that's short. So because it's short 1, we have to push it forward 1 to catch up with the rest of them. Does that make sense? Because it's backwards 1 by 1 from the rest of them, I mean, it has to be pushed forward 1 just to match the rest. It's the best way I can explain it. So when the box continues throughout each of these, I'll show you how that explains that a lot better. But for now, I understand that whole concept probably just blew your mind a little bit, or maybe it didn't, but I understand when it was for me, it did. I was like, what is going on? Okay, so open to, open to, open is your G right there. And there's your G right there. So the G, the boxes will always have the bottom left from your perspective. If you're looking at the guitar, the bottom left is your open G, right? For your pattern. Open to, open to, open. So that is your major root note, meaning when you're playing your G chord and you're strumming through it and you're landing on a note, you're usually going to land on the root. Now it's cool to land on the 3rd or the 5th, but it's going to be the root, the 3rd or the 5th that you pick. Most people comfortably land on the root. So that's a root that you would land on, and it's in the bottom left of the box. See? Bottom left. And then now if I start the box over, so there's my bottom left. If the box were the same on those 3 and those 3. I hope I'm not giving you too much random stuff. I know I'm trying to just give it to you gently here. But if that box was uniform like this box is over here, it would be the same concept. But instead you have this wonky one leading back. But still it's the bottom left, because the box would end right there. The other example, I think I already played it for you. There's the box for the D shape. And after the box, it's always the rectangles. But the box would continue over here. But see, I hit that B string and I went up 1. See, if that box, if this B string wasn't short 1, I would be able to go directly underneath it. And also, that's your C shape, so there's my bottom left of my box. Hear it? Same thing. That's my G. That, like, this one was the G of the box. This is the G of this box. See? I know, I'm giving you too much. I'm sorry. Okay, so I just wanted to show off that little part, I guess, more than anything, just so you can have a glimpse into the understanding of how this will all click one day. I promise you, one day it will. So, yeah. I hope I didn't make this too. Oh my gosh, it's been 15 minutes. I'm so sorry. Okay. Well, I hope this was not too much thrown at you. But enjoy that concept and just play with this first part. I know. Here, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just play in G right now, and you're going to just play in those notes of that G right there. And when you're feeling comfortable enough, because I know I deviated from that one pattern I was trying to show you earlier. Like going up one and going down one. Oh my goodness, I have so much that I just threw in this video randomly. I'm going to play in G first, and you just play comfortably in that one. And then when you get even more comfortable, we'll add in the E shape. But for now, let's just play in the G. So I'll go 1, 2, ready, go, boom. So like that, that's how I'll introduce you to it. And then you just start playing boom, or land anywhere. Whatever you want to do. I'm just going to go in between G and D and C. Okay? So 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so I figured I'd just play for a little bit there so that you could just have an idea of just, you know, going in and out. Boo, 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 boo. Those are also notes I haven't showed you yet if you wanted to add those in later. That's C and that's C. That's part of the G scale, but we just haven't talked about adding those in yet. But any of the notes that are just in here will go with what I just played. So if you wanted to add that C there and that C there, you could, for going through them. Specifically when I hit a C, you want to land on that C. You know, something like that. And then what else? Oh, you could practice that slide again. For that. One into the E shape. And then, what else? I don't want to give you too much more. I feel like it's a long enough video. Okay. I'm so sorry. Alright, enjoy, and I will see you next time. Okay. Bye, beautiful.